So other than joining the football team, you sort of meet like-minded people. Chris, did you have time to do anything else to do that, or do you join the football and think, that's me, I've got enough?
The football was a brilliant thing when I split up with Max.
Right,
it was the boys. The boys were there all the time. We trained on a Wednesday, had a brilliant laugh. They had us out in the piss all the time. It gave us something to constantly sort of focus on and get organised for it. I'd spend a Tuesday working out exactly what I was got to do at training on Wednesday. I'd go down early, I'd have all the codes set up, all the drills set up, so it was always something there. We'd be out for a few bevies on the Friday after work. We'd be out for a couple of sherbets on the Saturday, but not too many, although I ended up that. And then you had the Sunday with the boys. So, I mean, we'd be sitting in the Innerloo Sportsman's Club we used to go. There'd be 15 or 20 of us.
It's like you've adopted like a new family, pretty much.
Exactly. Like and you've got a kind of like even if I wasn't playing football and even wasn't affiliated with the club,
you've got lifelong friends.
You've got lifelong friends, and that's what you miss for back home. Yes, see back home, you've got your mates. You grew up with them.
School,
You grew up with them. You ate mud with them. You crawled up burns with them.
Yeah.
You got the police knocking at the door with them, and they're your life.
They'll
they're
always
your
be
proper
your
mates,
friends,
and they're
won't
always
they?
got to be there. But you have to. You can be whatever you want to be here.
Yeah.
You can tell your mates whatever you want to tell them, but the mates that you find here, you find yourself opening up to them a hell of a lot easier than you think.
It's weird, isn't it? You
weird,
open up here to people, like, not strangers, but new friends that you wouldn't be like that with your old friends, would you?
No. I mean, I've struggled with depression, which was the first time when I generally thought about going home.
I've noticed that a couple of times in your post, Chris. I mean, I didn't like to ask to bring it up, but no, you did. But how, I mean, that's one of the biggest things here is like people get sad and depressed,
how to deal with
and how
it.
we deal with it.
This Christmas past was a full on pulled on the heartstrings. Knowing what everybody was certainly my family was going through, you get all this shit in your head thinking, is this got to be the last Christmas I could potentially see my dad? And go, and
it just makes you worried, doesn't it?
And it tricks your head and it just constantly, probably for a week and a half there, I just wasn't eating properly, couldn't focus properly, snapping at everybody at work. My girlfriend, she's Aussie, and she was trying to be there, but and I kept sort of not pushing her away, but she couldn't understand the distance thing.
She didn't get it.
It's hard to relate when you've not got it.
I mean, her family were amazing with me at Christmas, and they have been literally since I've met her. They've been like a second family to me. I'm up there for Sunday lunch and stuff like that, up there all the time kind of thing, and they dragged me through Christmas. They made Christmas feel as special as it could. Don't get us wrong, it's nice and easy when you're sitting having your Christmas dinner and you've got a pool there, you've got the cricket on, you've got
it's
beer
not bad
flowing.
life.
It's a good life, but it was the first time that I generally thought to myself, I wouldn't mind getting zapped or teleported back at Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
spend Christmas for 2 or 3 days with the family and see my mates again. And come right, because that's all I needed.
That's all. I mean, my wife says that a lot with teleporting, particularly as well. Actually, she'd love to just be able to go zap, go back, just make sure her mum's all right and stuff like that, and then come back. She's not really wanting to go back there, but yeah,
it's just that way. Sometimes you just want a few days, don't you?
See, if you were there, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and the 27th to get over your hangover.
Yeah,
the 4 days would be enough for me.
Yeah.
Because I went home 2 years ago at Christmas. I went home for an extra week. By God, I wish I hadn't.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting at home myself.
Yeah,
all my mates were back to work.
Yeah.
There's only so many cups of tea and packets of biscuits you can eat because you're scunnered with a bevy by then. Like my brother can like a bevy, and we were on the piss. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, the day after. And then it was the old firm. He's a Rangers fan. I'm a Celtic fan.
That's your brother. That's outstanding. I love that kind of stuff.
I bet he had some good arguments.
It's hard work, it's honestly hard work. So, and then see, come New Year, I couldn't even face a drink. So I literally, for the last week and a half, I was just sipping tea, with raging heartburn because I'd had that much bevy. And he's like, you know what, I get on it. I was like, nah, I've had enough of that. I could have gladly came back then.
Yeah.
Probably the 2nd of January. Came back here and had a few days before I went back to my work. But
what do your family think you've been out here then, Chris? I mean, you go back at Christmas, it's all great, and you're back to normal, and then you leave again. It's a tough leaving again.
My dad has always said that do not come back.
Yeah. My family were the same.
He goes, unless I'm on, my dad I speak to my dad probably once a week, twice a week.
Yeah.
He talks more than me, so I would get 3 words in on a half an hour conversation. I just let him spiel. He tells us about the Celtic game. I was like, Dad, I've just watched it. And then I'll get a text of him, Celtic 1-0. Dad, I'm in the pub.
I'm watching it.
And then
We've got TVs here.
You're going about the cricket, because he's a big lover of cricket. My dad's English. So he follows, obviously, English cricket.
What absolutely fantastic fact. You've got an English dad, a Rangers supporting brother, Celtic. I mean, that's outstanding. It's brilliant.
It's diverse, isn't it?
That's diverse. You blend right into it with the diversity in this country.
He's adamant, do not go home.
Yeah.
He knows, like, my dad was in the Australian Army when he was younger.
Yeah. Hang on, he's English. I mean, it just gets stronger and stronger.
He was in Australia when he was younger then?
My dad was so my dad tells us a story how he was on 3 different propeller planes. How he looked outside the window and he was pretty sure the propeller thing was slowing down. He was based in Townsville, which when I travelled Australia, I went to Townsville solely to see that. And it is one of the strangest places I've ever seen in my life. You've got women with beards.
Was that the one that's in sort of
Queensland?
Queensland, yeah. I got offered a job in Townsville actually.
Go.
Yeah, and isn't that next to Toowoomba as well? Because I
there's
offered 2 jobs, one in Townsville, one in Toowoomba.
It's
like they just look so remote, man.
So I went there. My dad was based there. Sent him a picture back. I had to send it to my sister because my dad's got the basic mobile phones.
Yeah.
It texts,
like my dad.
It texts and rings. It doesn't do anything else.
Yeah.
So I have to send the photos back to my sister. For my sister going to Boots the chemist to print them off.
That is proper old school, man. With all the technology now.
Yeah.
I mean, I just share my pictures with Lorna's mum and stuff like that. It's just
honestly,
you've got to get my phone.
He wouldn't
know how to use it, would he?
He's got no internet or anything. He's got Sky TV, and that's what he likes.
That's all he needs. Yeah, my mum was the same. When I left, my brother was in the house. He had his laptop, set him up with Skype and stuff. And that never really worked out too well. But man, when I left, she decided, well, I'd like to be able to keep in touch with the kids and stuff, and me hopefully, but particularly the kids. So she went out and bought herself a laptop, and every Saturday she'd come down to my mum's, set a laptop up, and we'd have a Skype conversation. And but then my mum would forget because other grandkids were coming in, and she's turning around to talk to him, and like, we're sitting here, we're on TV, But the technology was hard for her. She didn't grasp it, but
I think I've only Skyped my mother twice.
Yeah,
she does see the point of Skype. I can remember leaving to come over for good, or what I thought was going to be for good. My sister was howling, crying her eyes out. My stepdad was bawling. My mum was like, "Right, okay, see you later." Handshake.
See you, sir. Good luck.
I can remember getting on the plane and my sister texts us, she was like, "Mum thinks she'll be back in 3 months."
Oh, she probably didn't want you to go.
I was like, she would never say that to my face. She would, like, my mother would do absolutely anything she possibly could for me.
Well, she did. She sat in a car every Tuesday and Thursday night.
Yeah, she was your manager. She was your football manager.
Like, if I says to Mum, I need X amount of money in the bank tomorrow, she would do it. If I needed anything, she would do it. But at the airport, she just didn't show any emotion at all. Because deep down, I think she thought, he's not going to last. Like I says,
she'd be pushing that down, man. She'd be like, push that right down.
I used to get, like I says, I used to get homesick going to Glasgow when I was going. Yeah. I'd be put in the back of the car and go up to see my uncle David up in Glasgow, and she'd be like, I'd be howling when I was younger. So she just thought, this isn't going to last. And then obviously, almost 8 years later,
So what is she like now, 8 years later? Does she kind of think you're going to...
I know. My girlfriend's pregnant, so she knows that I'm not going anywhere anytime soon now anyway.
Yeah.
They've been across here. So
that makes a big difference.
3 years ago at Christmas. They've been able to experience what I've been experiencing. So I literally took a couple of extra weeks off at work.
Yeah.
Done all the touristy stuff that you always do with everybody. Yeah. Like, I was going to Caversham that often. The guy was like, why did you not just get a season ticket?
We went to Caversham that often that my kids could recite all the guys' stuff.
It's nuts, like.
Ridiculous.
So, they came across, took up a Caversham, Perth Zoo. My stepdad had always had, he wanted to stroke an elephant.
Well, there you go.
That was the place to do it.
That was always on his bucket list. So we've got breakfast with elephants. You go there, have your brekkie. Elephants come out, paint a little picture with their paws, do a little dance.
Yeah.
And then you get to feed them kind of thing. So
Yeah.
that was on his bucket list.
That's good. Did he feed the giraffe when he was there as well?
Aye.
How cool was that?
Done all the shebang.
Yeah.
We took him. I took him to Gingin. They love going away in the middle of nowhere back home with their telescopes.
Oh, yeah.
Flask and
Oh,
heat.
Over
perfect.
here, that would be fantastic
So we
for
went
him, wouldn't it?
we went to the observatory, that Gingin thing,
Yeah.
and that place is unbelievable.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, it's good.
So took them there. Took them to the Pinnacles, which kind of blew their mind.
Yeah.
Fremantle Prison, all the touristy stuff.
Yeah.
And my mum was like, "You'll not come home, will he?" I was like, "What do you think?" She was like, "Well, I did think he would, but now I'm starting to think you're set now."
Yeah.
So it took them to sort of see
what
we've got here, to sort of realise that it is a much better, like back home. Like I said, I'm from Hawick. You struggle to get jobs. We lost the industry. Remember, we used to have Leyland Scots there. We used to have Pringles, knitwear, and that got decimated for the Asian market. And you can get cashmere cheaper across there. Leyland Scots, yes, is still going.
Yeah.
White cashmere is still going, just a bit.
That's that. I didn't realise that was still going.
Aye, just about going, but back in the day, you'd have 500, 600, 700 people working in that mill. You'd have in Slumber.
The entire town would be employed there,
was
pretty much.
literally funded by cashmere knitwear. In Slumberdown used to do all your bedding stuff, all your pillows, quilts, duvets and all that. And that's what literally kept the town going.
Yeah.
Nothing else. And when that got low, you probably find more people from Hawick working in Selkirk and Galashiels doing call centre stuff.
Right, okay.
Like my mum works in a call centre because at Selkirk. Hates it, but it's an income. It's funding.
That's it.
My dad, my dad's was a councillor for the town. I suppose that's maybe where I get.
That's where you get your management skills from it. Yeah.
So he was on disability for a while, so obviously he can't work. And my stepdad has been a mechanic for 50 years, pretty much 45 years. So unless you had a trade, and I suppose even the trade kind of went. As soon as that recession hit back home, and a lot of people that the drop
people have got no money to spend either.
Aye.
Yeah, it makes it tough. Like, so what would your mum, now that she knows you're probably not going back and stuff? Is she okay with it? Was she?
She like I say, she knows. She gets her sort of a kind of bit like me. She gets her teeth into stuff, and then she's been sending loads of stuff across for the wee one and getting all excited
Does she knit?
Nah. I've got a woman that worked at knits.
Oh, my wife's mother, she knits, and I mean she's fantastic knit. And when Teddy was just, well, she's only a year old, and she used to knit stuff all the time, even for the boys when they were only young as well. And there's all these knitwear, and they're fantastic, but you just can't wear them. You know, you don't really get a chance to wear them.
You don't need the stuff over here, really.
But my brother was on the phone a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, it's hard for us to get excited for the baby's due in 4.5 weeks, and my brother's like, it's hard for us to get, because if you're back home, you're experiencing it all. You're going up, you're seeing her grow, seeing her get bigger and stuff like that. But they're not getting that. And I says to my brother, I was like, aye, but that's the same if Nikki, my sister, was to get pregnant.
Yeah.
I'd be going through the same. He's like, actually, aye, you're right.
Yeah.
So
I think people do sort of tend to forget. You're just sort of out of sight, out of mind, and not in a bad way, but you come over here and they're like, oh, you're over there, and you know, they just dodge them. I mean, they don't really interact the same, and it's really you have to really fight hard to do it. I mean, we did a lot. I mean, my side of the family not so much, but Lorna's side, we did, you know, Skype, and we've done like murder mystery nights and stuff like that. We've been having dinner. Mum and Lorna's mum and dad been having lunch, and they're all dressed up and doing murder mystery. And you really got to work hard at it. And I think the harder you work at it early on, the conversation just become general conversation.
I maybe missed a trick when I first came out here, because you maybe kind of spend more time trying to work yourself out.
Yeah, definitely.
And try and find, I mean, when I first came over, I was living with my ex and 4 Kiwis in a house share in Burswood, in a bit of a shithole. So you kind of focus, I suppose you have to kind of be a bit selfish to start off with.
Oh, it's the most selfish decision you'll ever make.
But he just...
No one would expect anything else, though, with your family back home. They'd want you to sort yourself out first, definitely.
So when I did that, my brother, I think it was my sister actually, my sister, like, why have we not got a group chat? Like, I'd speak to everybody individually.
Yeah, that's how we started. And it ends up being hard work, because you're saying the same thing
like, I'd say to my sister, how's Mark? He's sound, And I'd be saying to my brother, how's Nikki getting on?
Yeah.
I think she's all right. I'm like, well... And then obviously you've got a group chat, and then you have a bit of banter, a bit of piss take.
Yeah.
And
then it becomes conversation, Chris, like you're back
constant,
home. That's